Hello everyone, welcome to our YouTube channel IELTS by Neil. Today we are going to talk about one of the section of the IELTS exam, which is speaking. So in this session we will cover what is IELTS speaking, okay, and how many parts it have and how to attempt each part. So let's begin. Alright, so IELTS speaking had three parts, so it's divided into the first, number two here, and number three here, part three. So it's divided into three parts. Okay, so one by one we are going to cover each of the part, and we will see what type of questions there are in each part and how to answer these questions. All right, before we move on, if you have not subscribed to our channel, please subscribe to our channel for more IELTS related videos. Alright, let's begin with the part 1. So part 1 is the general questions, so in which very general questions are asked. For example, what do you like to do in free time? Okay, where are you from? Tell me something about your hometown. What are your hobbies? Okay, do you like movies? Yes, no. Do you like to do exercise? Okay, so very general questions you're going to be asked. Okay, so this part 1 will take place as you enter the room, okay, and after the ID check, right, when you have shown the examiner your passport. After that, when the recording will begin, so part 1 will be the first thing that will take place. Okay, so you'll be asked very general questions. Okay, again, I've given you examples like what do you do in your free time, do you like watching TV, do you like using social media. So very general questions, the way we talk with our friends, normal questions like that. Okay, coming on to the part 2, you will get a topic card. Okay, some people call it cue card as well. So you will get a topic card. So what do you have to do with the topic? So you have 1 minute to prepare that topic. Okay, you'll get 1 minute to prepare, and after that you are required to speak for 2 minutes. Okay, so for example, when the part 1 is over, okay, you will the examiner will give you a sheet or a sheet of paper, okay, and that paper will have topic on it, and you'll be given a pen or a pencil or paper, okay, to make some notes, and you will have only 1 minute. So we have to use that 1 minute very carefully, okay, because after 1 minute you will need to speak for 2 minutes on that particular topic. Okay, so this is a part 2. Okay, so and the part 3 is discussion questions on the topic. So whatever topic you're going to get in here, part 2, the questions will be asked in this section. So okay, now you'll be like, okay, what is the difference between part 1 questions and part 3 questions? The only difference is that part 1 questions, you don't have to give long answers. For example, 2 to 3 sentences is enough, okay, for part 1, 2 to 3 sentences. But for part 3 questions, you will have to give 4 to 5 sentences, because they are more like discussion questions. Okay, and cross questioning can also take place in this one. All right, so be ready for that as well. Okay, so again, repeating this whole thing, so IELTS speaking is divided into 3 parts. Part 1, general questions, that is this one. Part 2 is the topic you're gonna get, okay, and you will get 1 minute to prepare, and you'll have to speak for 2 minutes. Okay, and part 3 will be the questions the examiner gonna ask based on the topic what you get. So I hope these 3 parts of IELTS speaking is clear to you. So this is basically the structure of the IELTS speaking exam. Okay, moving on to the grading system. So before we even start preparing for the IELTS, it's really important for us to know that what are they checking. They give us a score on 4 parameters. Number 1 is fluency and coherence, lexical resource, grammatical, and pronunciation. Okay, so in this one they check the flow of the language, which is fluency, and the structure of your speaking. Okay, so of course we have to make sure that we are not taking too many pauses. Okay, and yeah, the flow of the language is really good. All right, and coherence is the structure. Moving on to the next one, lexical resources. Of course, wide range of vocabulary that you use. I mean, of course you don't have to use the more fancy words, but you can use some better words than the normal words. Okay, for example, if we say the park is looking good. Okay, rather than saying park is looking good, we can say the park is looking amazing. Okay, so like amazing is not a like high level, or it's not a fancy word, but still it's better than good. Okay, so this is what you have to do. You have to use little more than the normal words, okay, to make your speaking more better. Okay, and next one is grammatical range, in which your grammar will be checked, and of course the pronunciation, okay, in which how you pronounce the words. So again, covering these points, so how you get grades or scores in the IELTS speaking, that is first one, fluency and coherence, means flow of the language and structure. Lexical resource, okay, is the vocabulary that you're going to use. Grammatical means grammar, okay, then you have the tenses you are using, right or not, singulars, plurals, okay, all that going to be counted in this one. And the pronunciation, how you pronounce the words. Okay, so these are the four things that you have to keep in mind while preparing for the IELTS speaking. And now one by one we're going to discuss all the parts of IELTS speaking. Okay, so I'm going to give you basic outline of how to attempt all three parts of this speaking. Okay, starting with the part one, speaking part one. As I told you before, that these are the very general questions. Okay, for example, what do you like to do in your free time? Okay, so you can say I like to read books in my free time. The last one which was read was Atomic Habits. Okay, and I'm really enjoying that. So of course we don't have to give two short answers. For example, if we cannot say with this question, we cannot say reading books, okay, or I read books, okay, like that'll be too short. Okay, so you have to give at least two sentences, like I like to read books in my free time, and the recent one which I've read is Atomic Habits. Okay, that's it. Okay, same with this another example of part one question, that is what are your hobbies. So you cannot say my hobbies are playing basketball and reading books. Okay, you have to elaborate that my hobbies are playing basketball, which I do it on the weekends, and of course I like to read books as well. So whenever I get a free time, okay, I read some books, or I try to read books, because it's one of the good habits that I want to develop in myself. Okay, that's it. Again, these are some examples which you can do. Okay, so my point here is that the part one questions are really easy, the everyday questions that you come across whenever you speak to your friends, to your family. Okay, that's what it is. Okay, moving on to the part two now. So in part two, as I've told you before, that you get a topic. Okay, so for example, this is a topic: describe a difficult decision that you have made. So you should say this and this and this. Okay, so these are the 4 points. These are just to help you. Okay, you can speak more about that. Okay, because you have like 2 minutes to speak. Okay, and you'll get 1 minute to prepare. So we have to make sure that we are using this 1 minute very, very wisely. Okay, like you'll get a pen and paper, okay, but I would suggest not to start writing the full sentences. Okay, write the keywords. Okay, write the keywords, never write full sentences, because if you start writing full sentences, you're only gonna end up writing like 2 or 3 sentences, and after that the time's gonna be up, and the examiner will be like, okay, you can start speaking. So rather than writing the full sentence, you can write some keywords which will help you during your speaking to develop more ideas. Okay, so basically the game in the past two speaking is to develop more ideas and create a story. Okay, this is another example of part two type of questions. So basically we call it a cue card, okay, or a topic card. Again, you have to talk about a cafe. Okay, you have to say where it is, what kind of food it serves, what do you do there, and why you like the cafe. Okay, so again, you will get 1 minute to prepare and 2 minutes you will have to speak on. Okay, please note that while you're speaking for 2 minutes, okay, the examiner might stop you even before 2 minutes. Okay, so that is fine. So don't think that you're gonna lose the score for that. Okay, so it's up to the examiner. Okay, sometimes they might stop you before 2 minutes, sometimes they stop you at 2 minutes. All right, so just be ready for that. All right, so moving on to the part three now. So what is part three? So part three, as I've told you before, that these are the kind of questions, okay, based on the topic. So for example, we just had a topic about the cafe. So now if the examiner will have to ask you the question, okay, so he can ask you a question like, do many people like coffee in your country? Okay, So for this answer, you cannot say no or yes. Okay, don't give one word. Okay, or don't even give one sentence. No, like not many people like coffee in my country. You have to elaborate that, no, not really. Many people don't like coffee in my country. However, young people prefer to choose coffee over tea, but most of the old generation in my country prefer tea over the coffee. Okay, so, and you can also give some examples, like you can give example, my grandfather, who's 70, and he always starts his morning or starts his day with a cup of tea. Okay, so you can always give examples with this one. Similarly, have a look at this question. Do you think people go to cafe more often these days as compared to past? So you cannot say just yes or no. Okay, you have to elaborate the answers. Okay, and this is a pro tip for part 3, that is, give examples. Okay, this is the best thing you can do, to explain your reasons or to explain your opinions. Okay, like you examples to explain your answers in a better way. Okay, let me just repeat what we have studied today. That is, IELTS speaking has 3 parts: part 1, part 2, part 3. In part 1 is general questions. Okay, very general questions. Part 2, you get a topic. Okay, you'll get 1 minute to prepare and you will have to speak for 2 minutes. And part 3, you have discussion question. Okay, the question are asked based on the topic. Okay, so these are the 3 parts, and we have also discussed how they judge you, like what are the parameters of scoring in IELTS speaking. Okay, so in the coming next videos we will be discussing each part in details. Okay, so stay tuned and please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your time today. Have a great day.